Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. In particular, welcome to PCP Movie Night. Even in more particularlessness, welcome to Horrorfest 2023. And we still got a few weeks to go. And tonight, we got one of the scariest films we've ever talked about here. We're talking about another Japanese modern horror classic. We're talking about Ju-On the Grudge. Now, I know a lot of people are familiar with the movie The Grudge, starring Sarah Michelle Gellar. It's the same director as this film. It's a remake of this film that was produced by Sam Raimi, but we're here to talk about the original 2002 Japanese film, directed by Takashi Shimizu. I love this movie so much, and I'm so excited to have a great panel of people here tonight to talk about this movie, and I hope you join the conversation, and I hope you out there got to experience the terror, the chilling nature that is Ju-On the Grudge. And we can't have Ju-On without Jelani. What is up, my man? How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Station. Glad to be here, and I had trouble sleeping last night, so this movie always gets me.
As you should, bruh. As you should. Speaking of having trouble sleeping, has nothing to do with the movie. It's just his life. It's Brian. What is up, my man?
Hey, not much. Feeling good. 2 eggs over hard.
2 eggs raw, bruh. Like Rocky. He had like
that's
5 or
right,
6, actually.
Yeah.
Well, but if Rocky does it, this guy always goes Rocky over hard. This guy has 12 raw eggs every morning. It's Brooks. What is up, Shroom Master? How you doing?
Oh,
They're snake eggs, though, right?
Quail eggs.
they're ostrich eggs. Now eat them shell and all. I use my jaw.
I love that. Speaking of big eggs, Fable, what is up, my man? How you doing?
Station. What's going on? I have nothing.
Speaking of having nothing, it's Hammer Time Holshoe. What is up, my bro?
I was looking up this director actually because I'm like, surely I know his other work. He did
Ju-On, Ju-On 2, The Grudge, Ju-On 3, Ju-On 4. Ju-On...
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty much all he did. Except he did do the live action Kiki's Delivery Service or is that what it's called?
But he turned it into a Ju-On sequel, didn't he?
No, it would have been funny if it was a much darker take.
Every time
I usually don't do anime turn live action, and I don't think I would enjoy that either. But yeah, that's mostly what he's done. He's done like 40 of these fucking films now.
He just keeps doing Ju-On, right? And you know what? I'm here for it, right? So I got this awesome nifty box set here. What's up, Blood Splatter Chatter? What's up, Inja Binja? What's up, Sweet Mimosa? GTK Comic. We got Warren in the house. All those people out there. We got Sal. What is up, y'all? Thank you for joining us tonight for this excellent horror movie experience. So I got this awesome box set, right? That's got all the Ju-On films, of which there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've seen 2 of them. So I haven't seen the originals. This movie was first done as Ju-On the Curse. And then they did Ju-On the Curse 2. Then they did this. Now, those were direct-to-video movies. The director had done a couple of TV shorts that involved the characters from this movie, like the ghostly characters. But then he does those 2 movies, kind of combines those ideas into the theatrical film of Ju-On the Grudge. Then he did part 2, which I actually think is creepier, in my opinion. And then they did White Ghost and Black Ghost. I have not seen those, but there is the Ju-On number 1 right there. This is a European-only release, unfortunately, but every one of them has reverse covers. They all have, like, cool art. They all have, like, postcards, and there's a poster, and they are all reversible, and it's super, super freaking cool, y'all. Trust me, it's awesome. I'm going to dive into that when I have more time in my life post-Horrorfest. Hopefully.
Is that the one that's like a European release or something?
Yeah, it's European from Arrow. The first one's in 4K and on Blu-ray, and the rest of them are on Blu-ray. And it's got some special features and stuff like that. Really cool set, but let's talk about the movie. First of all, my experience with this movie. I first became aware of this film with the film The Grudge. It was the remake from like the American remake in like 2004. It was like shortly after this film. Basically what happened was that Sam Raimi watched this film, got super creeped out, and was like, this is like the new thing, right? And in 2002, 2003, we're trying to find that next thing. We're in that post 9/11 wave. Saw hasn't happened yet. Cabin Fever hasn't happened yet. Hostel definitely hasn't happened yet. Paranormal Activity is still a ways off. And there would be no Paranormal Activity, my friends, without this movie, because it showed American audiences how to do a ghost story, right? Because all the ghost movies pre-JU-ON, in America at least, they're all just CG things moving. It's like The Haunting with Liam Neeson. It's just all shit. It's just all crap, y'all. And this was one of the first ghost movies I had seen since I was a kid, since like Poltergeist, that really got to me. You know what I'm saying? So I watched the Grudge remake first, and I thought it was solid. I thought it was good. It had my girl in it, Sarah Michelle Gellar. It was produced by Sam Raimi. It's the same director as this film. Did the remake, right? I think that's cool. But then I watched this original movie, y'all. I got a hold of this original movie. I watched it. And I think The Grudge, the American remake, is a piece of shit now compared to what this is. Because this is true, just a masterclass in horror, in ghost story horror. Like when I think of the best ghost stories out there, I think of the original Haunting. I think of the Legend of Hell House. I think of films like that, which dealt more on what you didn't see than what you did see. No, this is a movie, because in America, they're like, well, how do we show it? Well, we got to do like some CG. We got these CG angels on the wall, like turning their heads and shit. Nah, that's not scary, bro. That looks like N64. What's scary is this creepy ass kid and these Japanese women with long fucking hair, big black eyes. Like, what the fuck is that, man? It's super terrifying. It's awesome. I love the structure of this movie. I was blown away. Then I watched the sequel, and honestly, the sequel's got one move, like, because these are anthology films. If you're not aware, these are anthology films. I'm all over the place tonight, y'all. These are anthology films. There's like a bunch of short stories, but in the first movie, they all connect into one story, right? That also starts in those Curse movies, continues in the other movies. There's one particular story in JU-ON 2 that just gets me every single time. I love the structure of this movie. I love the atmosphere of this movie. I love the music in this movie. Y'all, I love this movie. I was all excited to talk about some Miike films with y'all, Audition and Ichi the Killer. But honestly, this is my favorite Japanese horror film that I've ever seen. And I've seen some, not all, but I've seen a lot of good ones. And this one, what's Ringu? Ringu does not hold a candle to this one, in my opinion. Jelani, what's your history? What do you think?
Yeah, JU-ON the Grudge is like the Pulp Fiction of horror, because it's told out of sequence. It's bold. The music is fantastic. The characters are engaging, actually, even though I don't know all their names. But the actual ghosts themselves, the kid and the mom and the kids that go in the house, their makeup scares the shit out of me. I don't know what it is. And then that mom crawling down the stairs, that's one of the freaking creepiest things I've ever seen in my life. Like, it creeped me out then. It creeps me out now. It's unsettling. This movie is very unsettling. And of course, the number one rule for this movie is don't go in the damn house. Don't go in the house. You go in the house, you die. Only people that don't die are like all the people. Well, everyone dies, but it's just don't go in the house, or don't know people that did go in the house, or watch a videotape of someone that has been in the house.
I'll tell you what, if you're in a Japanese film, do not watch any videotapes whatsoever.
Don't watch them at all.
Yeah, just don't.
Just skip it. It's just, want to see something cool? No, I don't. No. It bothers me because like I had trouble sleeping because that one scene where Rika's in the bed and she looks over and sees the boy and then looks above her and it's the mom and she's just like, oh no. I was like, get me. It's over. You got me. You won. This is it. I can't run.
I
There's
just
nothing
give
I can
up.
do.
Jaleesa said, I just
done.
give up. Movie's over. Just take
You got
me
me.
now.
It's over. I died. I died whilst this happened. I'm not doing any of this. I'm not getting any of this done. I'm just dead. You got me. You got me, dog. That's all I can say about this. But I watched The Grudge first as well. Didn't know anything about it. You know, the whole shower scene where the hand comes out of the head. It's much creepier in this movie than it is in the Sam Raimi version. And you know, it's kind of goofy. You know, and the Sarah Michelle Gellar is like, she's more aloof in this movie in the movie than Rika is as a character in Ju-On.
Yeah.
So
one
it's
thing
a
that
lot
the
better.
remake does get though, Jelani, is that they do still set it in Japan. And
Yeah.
I think that because of the nature of this film and its ties to its culture, it's the only way you could do it. It is
There's
one
no
of the
way it
better
can be done.
Japanese movie remakes, right?
True.
It's better than The Ring, I think. But I know everybody loves The Ring, but you know, whatever.
No, I don't watch videotapes. No, I'm good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Nothing crawls out of the TV for me because I didn't see it. Don't know what happened. But yeah, freaked out movie, man. Always still freaks me out. Always still have trouble sleeping after I see it. I've seen it probably, this is the third time I've watched it. And it's still just kind of
nice.
Two is creepier though.
Two's got that one bit with the coffee cup.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, man. Oh man. Some good
that whole
shit.
movie, yeah. Oh, that movie's good though.
Speaking of tilted over coffee cups, Brian, this is your first time watching this film, man. What did you think about it?
I liked it a lot. Yeah. I think I psyched myself out too much, thinking I was going to be way more scared than I actually was. After about 20 minutes in, I mean, I was definitely creeped out and everything like that, and the music and all that stuff works, but I wasn't like, you know, I didn't have any trouble sleeping that night. And I even listened to it on headphones.
He called you a little bitch, Jelani.
Yeah, right. What I was saying.
Listen, I don't do ghosts. Ghosts, you can't win. You can't beat a ghost.
I mean,
Ghostbusters.
no judgment, man.
They ain't got no ghosts.
Maybe
I ain't afraid of no ghosts. But I ain't going to no ghost house.
I'm pretty sure you're afraid of all ghosts, Jelani. I bet Jesus could show up. The Holy Ghost could show up. You'd be like running.
It'd be a problem. Don't touch me. Don't do nothing to me.
Jesus would come back. It would be the second coming, and Jelani would pull out a proton pack and just like,
you're done. Get out of my face. Oh, you know I don't sleep in cemeteries either. But sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Who does?
Yeah.
If I did for like $1 million, maybe, or more, but no.
I'm sorry, Brian. Go ahead.
No, I'm good. Yeah, no, I'd always kind of wanted to watch this one, and then I found out like it's about the yokai, the Japanese kind of myths with the spirits and everything like that, and so that got me even more intrigued, and everything, and yeah, I really liked it. I guess I didn't know it was an anthology. I'll say I was kind of like expecting more of a 3-act structure kind of thing, but that didn't bother me once I figured out that's what was going on. And everything, but yeah, I say one of the most impressive things though was the music and the sound effects. I mean that death rattle thing, and then every time something was like slightly scraping against something, that like that got me every time. I do not like those noises.
It's an audible treat to the senses. Speaking of a treat to the senses, Brooks, this was your first time watching this film. What'd you think about it?
I like it. It's a very cerebral horror movie, which I like. Like I like the fact that it's less about over the top kills and stuff like that, and it's more about the kind of like inherent creepiness of this idea of this kind of unstoppable force, and the idea that you don't really know what it is. Like it appears to be like something that's taken the form of these 3 people who died or who were murdered in this house. Well, I guess the kid and the wife were murdered. The husband died later on, but it's like it has a lot of good creepy imagery. I found the part where she's in the bed and the kid sitting at the foot of the bed, tapping on his knee, and the mother is hanging over. I found that scene kind of humorous actually, because it made me think it was of like a Junji Ito panel.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I think it's like it's very good.
Heck yeah. Fable. What do you think about this movie, bro? What do you think about it? This is not your first time watching it. You're familiar with this film. You chose to be here. Tell us why.
I think this movie's ahead of its time. A lot of the stuff that's in this movie has been aped or tried to be mimicked by other movies, and to the point where this one's kind of tame when it comes to that body contortionist, going down the staircase in the creepy way, walking with your legs and stuff like that. They've done that bit. I mean, this movie's old, right? Like, it's over 20 years old, so they've done that bit so many times. But this one still hits, even as old as it is. It still has that vibe. It's still creepy as hell. Yeah, this is a classic, man. Love this movie then, and I love it now.
Yeah, it's an absolute classic. Speaking of an absolute classic, Holshoe, your first time watching this film, you're learning Japanese. You're going to go visit Japan next year. This year, you love Japanese culture, bruh. Did this tell you not to go? What did you think about this movie overall?
I wouldn't go back to that fucking house over and over again. And if I was that dude, I would have burned it to the ground. But no, it didn't affect me wanting to go there. But I enjoyed it. It was not what I expected. This has got to be the third Japanese horror film that you made me watch that I didn't feel it had a conclusive ending, and I end up being pissed off. I'm like, fucking Robbie. But I did enjoy the film. I liked the cast. There were some cute girls in this film, man. I got so distracted. I'm like, whoa, man, those Japanese ladies, holy shit. And I still enjoyed it. It is creepy. It is creepy. I mean, it works. I get the concept. I kind of agree with Fable's saying. It's great as it was. And that was, let's jump to the, we won't talk about this movie because it's shitty, the Ghost in the Shell movie, the live action movie. Like, all those things weren't cool because they may have been created in the Ghost in the Shell anime film, but since then, it's been copied in films like The Matrix and stuff. There was some stuff that was copied. So when we finally get a live action film, it was horribly cast. We won't get into that. There were some things that should have been amazing, but we're like, oh, okay, because it had been done before to death. So I wish I would have saw this film longer ago, but I didn't see the remake, so I think that helps because it didn't taint, you know what I'm saying, my expectations. I didn't realize that he also directed the remake. That's interesting. But I still enjoyed it. It was definitely creepy, but I didn't lose sleep. Stuff like that, like slasher films, creep me out, and I'll lose sleep, But stuff like this, because I don't believe in this mumbo jumbo, doesn't really do anything for me. But I still enjoyed it. And again, we'll get to it later. But some of those ladies, oh Jesus!
I knew it when I was watching it this week, bro. I was like, John's gonna have a field day with this one. I was like, they all look like they could belong in a Scandal type band. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. We'll get into it. But
by the way, I do want to point out that Jelani started us off telling us how he got very honest with us and was very authentic and very brave and told us that this movie scared him. And everybody had these bullets, these little bitch bullets, and just went boom, 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 boom. And Jelani's just like,
shit.
Now, if I lived in a traditional Japanese house, I might be more startled.
Bro, I'll tell you what, dude. I was watching this thing earlier, or actually, it was on the Blu-ray special features. These dudes were kind of these British dudes, and we're kind of putting it in perspective or something for a Western audience. And they were talking about in Japanese homes, everything's so compact, so everything folds up in one another. So there's a lot of hidden compartments, right? So a lot of places where you can hear noise, where maybe it's a cat or a little fucking ghost boy. You know what I'm saying? So you never know, man. So when you're there, bro, just be careful. If you hear noises, just walk the fuck out the place.
Don't
go to a public place and just hang out there and eat some fucking noodles or something.
I learned that from E.T. when he rolls that ball and he goes to see who rolled the ball back. I would have got the fuck out of there. I learned at a very young age. If something mysterious happens, just let it go, man.
No shit. You're not going to be like the mom in Poltergeist. Look at this fun fucking ghost slide.
If I was an E.T., I would have shot fucking E.T. in the first 5 minutes with a shotgun.
What's that movie where they go to find fucking Bigfoot and they find him and they just shoot him up because they get freaked out, so they kill him. What is that movie?
Yeah,
Strange Wilderness, right?
Yes, it is Strange Wilderness. Yeah.
That would have been us with E.T.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this movie has a great cast, some great characters. So
Sexy cast. Keep going.
Jelani, kick us off with this sexy cast. What do you think? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I'll pick the little boy, Thomas.
He's not very sexy.
He's not sexy, not at all. I mean, I have a second choice, but I'm not gonna go there. I'll save that for John because I'm pretty sure he's gonna pick a whole bunch.
Toshiro or something like that.
Toshio.
Yeah, Toshio.
Toshio. I couldn't remember.
Old Toshio with his white skin. Sometimes he was my favorite ghost. Like he was nice. Like he wasn't doing all the straight up jacking.
I didn't understand though why he was like sometimes looked normal and sometimes was like looked like a ghost. Anybody that fuck with people?
That's just to fuck with people because like he had to be in human form ish to like confuse people, like the school teacher.
Well, it's because structurally in the movie, right? Like we don't know about the ghost shit yet, so they show him normal at first, and then show him. But he's creepy, dude. That elevator scene.
He
that's
is.
fucking.
That's
I like that one.
That's
he goes up every floor,
I like that a lot.
and he's there, and I'm like, oh my god, it's still going. Oh, he's still going. Yeah, it's creepy shit. He didn't do any killing though. He was. Just
did y'all notice? Any of the newer viewers, did y'all notice like the dude who's like playing peekaboo with himself? Did you notice what he's doing?
Yeah, he sees him in the reflection. He sees the kid. He sees
exactly.
the
Yeah.
reflection. And when the one person like stops to play peekaboo with the old man, he's like, "Get the fuck out of the way!
Yeah.
You're fucking it up."
At first, when I first watched this movie, I thought he was just a pervert. Then I realized
I did. The first time we were like, he's just staring at her ass
Why
or
is he
something.
staring
He's
at
like,
her ass?
peekaboo.
Can it be both?
Doing? Yeah, he was totally looking.
In
at
this
you.
case, yes.
And he's like he's always there. And I do want to mention it though. The eyes on the photographs that still creeps me out, and it's one of my other favorite characters.
Yeah, when they got the photos developed, you're talking about the friends.
When they got the photos developed. Yeah, the friends. I'm not picking the girl, but I'm just throwing it out there. That's one of my favorites too. But I love the kid. The kid was absolutely fantastic. Like he wasn't annoying or anything. He was just, fucking creepy.
I almost feel like it's the same kid in the remake. Like I don't know if it is, but it almost feels like it's the same kid. Like I'm
gonna look that up. Give me a second. I'm looking it up.
While you look that up, Brian, why don't you tell us a performance you want to highlight?
Someone was hard. Honestly, that was one thing that I was impressed by with a horror movie, that all of the cast was like believable. Like I thought they were all good, and that's not, that's not always the case for horror. I was well impressed by that. But I'm gonna stick with an animal theme and go with the cat. I mean, that messed me up when he killed him. I didn't like that. I was pretty mad about that. But then then the cat would do all the luring, every once in a while and all that stuff. I mean, a vengeful cat. I'm like, holy shit, watch out, man.
Is it the same cat?
Is it
what's her name wakes up in the bed and there's like 20 cats.
20 cats.
Yeah. Right? And then Toshiro is connected to the cat. I guess because that was his pet. So like sometimes it feels like the spirits combine of both of them.
I was wondering at one point if that's what was happening. They were kind of changing places or something like that, or like I don't know, because I don't know. I
think the cat is his familiar, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
He's by the way, he is in the first film, the second film, and the remake. Same kid.
Wow.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
It's Toshio, yeah. And I kind of looked up his what films he's been in, and really, that's it.
JU-ON movies.
He's been in some other things, but that's really his claim to fame. He hasn't been in much besides all the Grudge stuff.
He probably just kept doing that stuff in every scene, like sitting on his knees the whole time.
Get away from me.
Yeah, for real.
Stop that.
So, that's what I got.
So you got the cat, man. I like that. That's a good pick. That's a really good pick. What about you, Brooks? What's a character you want to highlight?
Well, I really like, I guess, the main girl. What was her name? Rika, I think it was.
It's Rika, you son of a bitch. Stole mine.
Get here on time, dude.
Dude, she's so damn,
I like her.
so damn cute, man.
Lay it down, man.
Damn. Bruce, continue, please.
But yeah, like she gets the most, I think. She has she gets the opportunity to react to like a whole lot of different circumstances in the movie. Like, at first she's like put upon by this dude who like basically is dropping this bullshit job on her. Then she has to deal with this old lady and has to clean up her shitty like sheets or
Floor.
mats or whatever. And then she gets terrorized by these fucking weird ass ghosts. Like she's a good protagonist. And it's a shame what happened, but it's the way it goes in these ghost situations, I suppose.
It's a shame what happened, but that's the way it goes in these ghost situations.
Yeah, and you run into ghosts, sometimes they kill you.
It is what
We
it
gotta
is,
have a
man.
T-shirt of that quote printed up with some kind of like some artist redrawing like Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore in Ghost or something like that, or maybe
Ghosts don't hurt.
or maybe just a Whoopi Goldberg. Like, speaking of Whoopi Goldberg, Fable is her biggest fan, at least pre-1998. Anyway, what about you, Fable? What's a performance you want to highlight?
I love that movie where she was with Sam Elliott. I forgot what movie that was. That was awesome. Talking about Whoopi Goldberg. Anyway,
now we're all just like,
I'm
what?
racking my brain. I'm like,
is it a movie
I'm
with
not gonna
Sam
get
Elliott? What the
no, my favorite character probably would be I don't know his name, but he's the husband. He's the son of the old lady. He was really good because he's coming home, he doesn't know what's going on, and then he goes upstairs and witnesses this ghost stuff, and then all of a sudden he becomes possessed.
Dude, what a great scene too, man! Like when you just the screen gets dark, right? Like over him, man. Oh my goodness, he starts like biting his nails and shit. Oh my god.
Yeah. And I love how he fought his possession to make sure his sister left the house. Like his sister was like trying to help him. He's like, "No, you gotta get out of here." Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, she cheated on me. She cheated on me. She cheated on me." You know what I mean? But he's like, "Get out. No, you gotta go." So it was. I liked his performance.
Luckily, his sister got out and she was safe and sound. Oh wait.
She lived happily ever after.
Yeah, no shit. Good job, buddy.
Almost did it.
Yeah, almost there. Almost there. Speaking of almost there, Hammer Time Holshoe. What's a performance you want to highlight?
I'd probably say Izumi. She was the schoolgirl that like her friends died. She did a good job doing that. Like, I don't know, like she couldn't sleep. She put the paper. She did a good job being like paranoid and crazy. And then they talk about her happened to her dad or whatever. And I think she did a good job with that role. And she really did come off as like almost schizophrenic or something. Like something's like mentally wrong with her. Not that she was actually scared or something. They kind of almost dismissed her. And then her friends, I like her story arc too, with her friends finding the photos and trying to check on her. And then with the weird, and then her dad was the dude. Because that's the thing that fucked me up too. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. And I didn't realize that they Pulp Fictioned us there. It took me a minute. Because I knew there was a flashback after we see Rika go in the house, seeing what happened to the family.
Rika dies.
Yeah, I'm interested to see even more flashbacks because there were even more families. Because they're like, oh, this is... I don't understand that too. The cops like, this is the 22nd family this year. I'm like, what? What the fuck, man?
I think I see a pattern here.
Yeah. So, but I really think Izumi, whoever the young actress who played that role,
she was had.
Misa, I guess was her real name, did a fantastic job in that role. Is just being like freaked out and paranoid. I think she did a good job.
She did do a great job, especially when her friends come in and she's like freaking the fuck out on them and all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. And they're,
see her friends. Yeah. Well, that like the ghost friend that come through the window. That shit scares the shit out of me too. I'm like, oh no, you got me.
We go to Delaney's house.
His ghost friends like chased her, and then like the lady comes up behind her like, no, that's my kid.
Yeah, and like the little shrine thing or whatever, they came and got her. She thought she was safe, and that's why I don't have shrines here because of ghost.
Sounds fair. Fair enough.
All right, so for me, I'm going to go with Izumi's father.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because this dude, so we'll get into the structure. I love the structure. We're telling the story out of sequence, and then we hit this point where we're like revealing what happened in the past, and they go get help from the detective who was on the original murder case that started this whole fucking thing. Maybe, right?
Yeah,
Maybe
some
it's
case. He was some point he was involved with the case.
Yeah, but it's that initial one that we see in those clips in the very beginning, the videotaped footage, right? So like he's the original person on the case, and it seems like if you walk through the door of this place, you're gonna die, bruh.
Yeah.
Like that's what's gonna happen.
You're
This
dead.
is the one dude who somehow made it through this shit. And so what I love about this dude's performance is there's never a moment where his face is on screen where I don't go, this dude is like fucking terrified of this whole thing. And he's just like, fuck all of this.
Spoiler
right?
alerts, he's the one that shit on the floor. He's up there.
Yeah.
But I love his performance because it there's a tragedy. Like in all of the other shorts, they're either trying to get us with a was it Riku or whatever at the
Riku.
beginning?
Rico.
They're trying to get us with like, we don't know what's happening yet. We're building it up slowly.
Yeah.
And then with like the sister or with the brother and his wife, right? In the second story, we're like, we know a little bit more, but we're going to like still build that tension with him. No, there's no building of tension. This dude knows just like we know as the audience now. And it's so fucking brilliant to me structurally to tell the story that way. And his performance sells it because the entire time this dude's on screen, he's like, no, fuck no. He's the one that learned his lesson, but because of certain circumstances, he has to go back. And the tragic moments of him and his daughter seeing each other at the moment they get the curse through space and time. And that's another thing brilliant to me about this movie is that it all these ghosts basically occupy the same space across all time. So we'll get into that when we talk about the style and the structure right now. I love the anthology structure. I love how it's like telling us a really cool story. We get into it. Then we go back in time a little bit. Then we go right back ahead to a story that correlates to chapter 1, right? Chapter 3 happens around the same time as chapter 1. Then we go a little bit forward. Then we go back. Then we go forward. Then we go way forward. Then we come back again and we wrap it all up. I freaking love it because the whole point of all of it is that these ghosts, this energy, it's happening in this location across all time, right? And that's part of the ending because part of the ending, and I wish that Spillia was here right now because he was asking me about the ending, but this is what happens at the ending, y'all, when Riku realizes that she is the ghost lady. She is not always the ghost lady. Sometimes it is the other. The point is this grudge passes. This spirit of vengeance passes from person to person. They all are wrapped up in that same vengeful energy. It's like a black hole that happened with this initial murder, and everybody around gets sucked in. And that's what happens to her when she realizes that she's been the ghost the whole time, and she's also about to become the ghost, because when it comes to that shit, I love how they're playing with that dimension of time with the ghost shit. Like that is brilliant to me. And I can't think of another ghost story that really does it this well. JU-ON 2. JU-ON 2 is the other one that does it when the coffee cup falls and you find out why. Bro, but that's the thing when these repeated patterns, right? This energy that perpetuates itself. That's what we're kind of getting here. I love the fucking way this movie is told. Also, the cinematography is so brilliant because it's almost monochromatic, but it's not. But it's almost. It's like just a tinge away. It's bleak. It is bleached. It is like devoid of color in a lot of parts. That is very intentional. And the parts that do have a pop of color, they represent before the grudge takes hold, before the curse takes hold, right? I fucking love it. What about you, Jelani? Style and structure, what do you think?
Dude, I agree with all of that. It's one of these movies that is unsettling from beginning to end, even in the light parts, even when it's like sunny in a bright, pretty day, especially when the old man is getting pushed in a cart playing peekaboo. It's still creepy. There's just this air of something is always there in this movie. It's structured beautifully. Like, I like how it jumps as well. I like how Rika, and that is Rika at the end, I think, with longer hair, and she begins to get the curse.
That's her.
Again.
That's totally
at
her.
the
That's the
end.
whole. Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah. But I love how it is explained in the future scene that they find her dead. Like they explain in a newscast while the cop's daughter is in the house, and she hears the report that he's dead, that Rika's dead. And I'm like, how's she dead already? She's still at the end. She's still in the end of the movie. Like, she's still doing this. But I was like, oh, I get it. Oh, this is way in the future. There's so much stuff going on for the anthology to pick up.
And you got to pay attention to it, right?
And
Which I
you have
love.
to see it.
If Joe Corallo was here, he would be like, this is a movie that doesn't treat its audience like they're a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to eventually piece together that detective's daughter, the young daughter he's talking
the young
to,
daughter,
that's her.
Grown up.
Right? Yeah, absolutely.
That's her
man.
grown up. And like, it's so weird that you have to go through that to get there. And I love all the heart. The other thing that bothers me is the security guard, which had nothing to do with it. Had nothing to do with it. All he was doing was checking out the scary noise. And he gets drawn in by a shadow and gets got. I'm like, he didn't go to the house.
And she just runs the fuck away, by the way. Just like what's her name from Opera last week. Just runs the fuck away.
Because
doesn't call nobody.
Deuces. We'll go home. We'll take care of it. And then she gets got. It's like, it's so much. And plus, I love how everyone is taken. Like, you're either horribly killed, or you're just sucked into hell or the abyss or whatever. Because like the teacher gets sucked in the abyss, the cop, his daughter, everybody, the cops in that scene where she's like crawling at them and they're like complete terror. Like, it's the worst feeling of their entire lives. I'm like, I get it, dog. I couldn't get up and run either.
See, that's that's a brilliant thing, dude. The scene with Riku, right? That's her name, right? Because I kept thinking they were Rika. I kept thinking they're going Pika. But anyway, they're like Rika, right? But like when she's like got the kid at the foot of her bed and the woman, the mom on top of her, like that's like sleep paralysis. That's what's happening when you see this shit. Like, and it's evoking that kind of feeling. And now I've had sleep paralysis before. That's scary as shit, bro. Right? Yeah. So.
You can't move, you can't do anything, and I love how it's unsettling throughout. It's just that this is that movie. It's like one of those things where if you try to reason with it, you can't reason with it. The evil is there, and once you step in that house, you're pretty much fucked. It's just a wrap because it has its claws in you. You're marked for death. You take pictures wrong, it's pretty much over. and like I still, I love this movie just for those little spots. And I gotta watch JU-ON 2 again so I can sleep.
It's such a wrap that when you immediately cross the threshold of this house, you're being haunted by your fucking self. It's ridiculous. It's like you're already dead. You're already the ghost. Yeah. And like that's what's fucking brilliant to me. What about you, Brian? Brilliant Brian. What do you hear? What do you want to point out, man? What do you think about the style and structure?
Yeah, like I said, I was a little confused by the anthology structure. I just was expecting a kind of a 3-act movie, but I settled into that, and I liked it. The way you were describing it makes me want to watch it again, because I was following what was going on and everything like that, but I think that's something that deserves a rewatch when it's filmed like that, so you have at least enough of a grounding on all the things, and you can start picking out different things better. And plus I liked so much of the way it was made that I would rewatch it anyway. I mean, just like the visuals alone, I thought were like, really cool. And the character you picked, the dad there, the way he got was, I think, my favorite. Actually, not just because it was so, not necessarily was scary. It just like the visual, how they did it visually was so cool.
Yeah,
because like it didn't look cheesy when he was watching it on TV and they brought the guard into the bathroom there or whatever. None of that looked cheesy. I because that can look really bad. you know, and then the way it kind of took over the TV and all that other stuff. I thought that was just fantastic, you know. So that was definitely some of the stuff that stood out to me was the cinematography. Like I just thought it was great, and I thought it was paced perfectly and it was a good length. I would say if it kept going out, you know, sometimes those ones that are paced like that if it goes on too long, you just kind of get tired, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, you know, so like I really like that. But yeah, I'm definitely wanted to watch that one again, and I haven't seen Ju-On 2, and I really want to see that now. So
yeah, you need to watch it. It's really good. It's really good. And
so you can invite me over when you said you're going to dig into the thing, and I'll come over and watch them with you.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Was that awkward? Should I not
Yeah,
do that?
that was awkward. We should have done that privately, Brian.
Okay. So Wednesday.
No, not this Wednesday at all. All
no,
right,
just to talk about it.
Maybe I'm only going to be at work for like a few hours on Wednesday. I'm going to Scarefest this week. Me and John are going to be there. If you're going to be at Scarefest, by the way, you see me and John, holler at us because we're going to be having fun, drinking tequila and hanging out with horror icons. Right, John?
I might go rum, but otherwise you got it.
All right. Sounds good to me, man. The other thing about the dad detective is he was the only guy in the movie who knew what was going on, who was just like, fuck it. I'm burning this whole house down, bro. Like, I'm just going to take it out right now, man. Brooks, what about you? What do you think about the style and structure of the film?
It's good, obviously. I mean, the movie has a lot of good, it uses like, you know, a lot of good shots to add to the creepiness. Like, I love the, you know, how they use the kid Toshio, how he'll just like kind of appear like in the background of certain scenes, like not exactly like hidden, but, you know, a little more so, but you can see he's there. I also like the way the mother ghost, like, you know, the way she moves, like, you know, she's all twisted up, and, you know, she has that, I like the death rattle a whole lot. That's like a really great sound, a really great creepy sound. I think one of the scenes that, I don't know why it creeped me out as much as it did, was when he's watching the video and, like, you know, that dark, just like this dark void steps out. It's like, you know, vaguely human shaped void steps out and like walks towards the camera. Yeah. I thought that was a really cool.
That was great.
Yeah, it's like
eyes.
I mean, yeah, the whole thing, that whole scene, like, oh man.
So one cool thing is the director and also the writer Takashi Shimizu. He didn't know how to describe the death rattle in the script, so he just wrote and the producer was like, "What is that?" And he goes, "Oh, it's this sound." Like it said, like I can only do it when I have like a cold. Like when I had COVID, I could do that like a motherfucker, dude. I was just like, you know, that kind of thing. But he had to like describe it to the producer, and the producer basically gave him carte blanche. Make it scary. You can do whatever you want as long as it's scary. This is your one shot, right? So
mission accomplished.
Yeah, mission accomplished, man. 100%. And it's also clever with the structure and innovative with it, with the storytelling, especially compared to other horror movies and other ghost stories and other horror anthologies, right? What about you, Fable? What do you think about the style and structure?
I think this movie's style is its structure, if that makes a lot of sense. If that makes any sense. Because cinematography wise, I mean, I think it's shot pretty well, but I don't think it's particularly dark given its subject matter, right? Like, it's not particularly stylized or shadowy or any of that stuff. Like, it's shot just normally. And even like the house doesn't look creepy, you know? I mean, that house in freaking Elvira was creepier than this house. You know what I'm saying? It's just like a normal Japanese house, but it's like the claustrophobia of it. It's the tight corners. It's like you said earlier, everything's compact. And all of the body contortionist stuff, all of the sounds, like you're saying, the death rattle, all of these things were really ahead of its time. They really know how to get like primordial fear into you, right? Like the hair and the eyes opening in the shadow. Remember, he was looking at the shadow and he's just looking at all of a sudden some eyes open up, and there's something about the eyes, something about the hair. You know what I mean? This primordial fear that they capture so well. Where I feel like movies like It. Remember we watched It, the remake, the new one. He does a lot of creepy contortionist stuff. This is what I'm trying to say. It comes from that, so it kind of makes this look regular, but this is like where they get it from. So yeah, style totally ahead of his time when it comes to style and structure, really.
Absolutely. I like what you said about the structure being part of the style. I mean, that makes 100% sense. Speaking of making 100% sense, not this guy, Hammer Time Holshy, what do you think about the style and structure?
I enjoyed it. First, when they talk about Rika's death or whatever, I'm like, fuck, man, we don't get a resolution. We don't see anymore. I kind of was pissed off. And then, of course, we do, but we know what's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It was definitely interesting. That kind of threw me off initially because I know we had the beginning of the film and then we have the flashback. I didn't know we're going to have more flashbacks or it was going to jump around in the way that it did. And obviously with Izumi's dad, the cop and everything, I'm like, oh, okay, this is not being told in order or not, kind of fucks with you a little bit. I think that adds to the film because if you just told it in order or everything was sequential, I shouldn't say because there's some things that, recurrent or whatever, the way it's told works actually. And I think it adds another layer to the film, makes it a better film because of it. But overall, I enjoyed it. And I think the style and the structure was great. And I like Fable was saying, it's not too dark. Like it doesn't feel super dark, but the subject matter itself is dark. And there are certain scenes that are dark and creepy, like like you said, the security guard or whatever scene when it happens, and then also on the video. So there are creepy, dark scenes, but for the most part, most of it's. Also, by the way, if I thought I was being chased by some sort of monster, I wouldn't run in my bed and jump under the covers. I would assume that covers aren't going to really stop. Man. Yeah, once you become an adult, you realize cover is not going to stop shit. You know what I'm saying? I've seen enough Friday the 13th to realize Jason can cut right through a fucking blanket. So, but I enjoyed the film, and I think the style and structure, works fantastically for the film. I'm interested to see some of his other films. I think he did One Missed Call as another one I wanted to see. The original.
Did he do one of the, Takashi Miike did the One Missed Call original. Did he do one of the sequels maybe?
Oh, no, I guess maybe he did the original. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I got the directors confused.
Okay.
Why was I thinking?
Takashi Shimizu.
Yeah, I got him flip-flop because I think Rika is in one of his... Who did Shudder?
I don't know. I haven't seen that one.
Okay, because that actress plays Rika is in another horror film, and I was checking her out to see what else she was in. She's not in a whole lot. And then it circled back around to the One Missed Call, and I was like, oh, I remember that film, and I have no desire to see the remake. I want to see the original now that I've been watching some Japanese horror films.
If only you knew somebody that had the box set, John.
I said, is that one region coding? I can watch Japanese or North America. I can't watch anything else.
This one is fine. We can watch
Okay, it's not British or something. Okay.
Yeah.
You should invite John over when you invite me over.
Me and John could not watch JU-ON together because it was region coded, but we did watch Amityville Horror 3D, which the movie sucked, but the 3D was awesome.
That's how most 3D movies are.
The 3D was great, man. Actually,
yeah, the 3D was pretty good. It was still in that era where they keep pointing shit at the screen constantly. So
that's what I want, though. That's what I want. If I'm watching a 3D movie, just do it. That's why I love Friday 3D.
Come back over and watch Jaws 3D with me, man. I haven't watched the 3D.
Oh, dude,
version.
Yeah, I want to watch Jaws 3D, man. We'll talk about it this weekend, man. We're hanging out all weekend, man. I'm so excited, man.
We're gonna get drunk. Meet Richard Dreyfuss.
We're gonna get drunk with Richard Dreyfuss. That's our plan. and David Arquette. That's what we're gonna do, man. And I'm gonna try to get drunk with Danielle Harris and see what happens. I mean, but
she's married, son.
Who cares? What does that matter? It's 2023, bro.
He was saying the same thing about Richard Dreyfuss the other day.
So's Will Smith. Anyway.
Damn it.
So moving on. All right, let's talk about the music. The music is done by Shiro Sato. Or Sato, or Sato. It's probably Sato, right? It's Shiro Sato. I love the music in this movie. It's ghostly, as it should be. But it has this, what I mean is it has this ethereal kind of ghostly quality to it, where it almost feels like video games at that time, like in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like, think about the soundtrack to things like Doom or Wolfenstein, and you have that like atmospheric, like, kind of thing going on. It's got that, but it's building on it, and it's ghostly, it's ethereal, but it also brings about a lot of tension in that music. Like, it starts being like, and it's using electronic shit, it's using strings, it's using the sound design of the movie itself, the footsteps on the floor, the knocks on the door, the phone ringing. Like, I've never been more scared rewatching this movie. I've seen this movie like 8 times. When that phone rang to the sister, like, I jumped out my seat, bro. Like,
So bad. The answering machine was scary.
No kidding, man. So yeah, everything about it, the sound design, that ethereal, ghostly quality to the composition of the score, as well as the building up of tension. I fucking love the music in this film. And there's a YouTube playlist of the soundtracks to Ju-On and Ju-On 2. Just put that on at your Halloween party this year. Everybody's going to be like, play some Dead Man's Party. Play some Thriller.
Who could ask for more?
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about the music?
Oh, I love it. It's atmospheric. It's scary. It's creepy. It's in all of the parts. Like I said, the music actually sets the tone for all of it. It's just so, like, I don't know. It's powerful in its creepiness. It's so eerie, and you're just in there, just like, oh my god, what's happening next? Oh my god, what's happening next? I felt like that the first time I saw this movie, and the second time I saw this movie, and the third time I saw this movie. And it's just there, and I'm just like, oh my god, like, I can't pick a scene where it was just like, it was, that was all of them. Damn it! It was every second, and when I can't remember her name anymore. My second favorite character, Whole Shoes character that he picked.
Rika?
Yeah, when no, not Rika.
Izumi.
Izumi. When Izumi was in the house and the music that was playing while she was like looking through the window,
right?
When she sees that, oh my god, oh yeah, and I forgot about style and structure. Another part, real quick. This uses jump scares so well. Like, this movie is like a masterclass in how a jump scare should be done. Even the simple jump scare of the husband sitting on the stairwell when his sister finds him, that's a good jump scare. When you see the ghost in the window with Izumi and she sees it for the first time, that's a jump scare. When Rika's laying on the bed and she looks up and sees the mom, that's a jump scare. That they know how to do it. And even in the little bits, the music on top of that scares shit out of me.
Oh,
that's done.
Music has to complement those jump scares in the right way, and if it works even better. But honestly, if I looked out my window just now and somebody was looking back at me, I don't give a fuck who it is. It could be Robbie. It'd scare the shit out of me. I don't want somebody looking back at me and look out the fucking Brooks is out there. Constantly, he's out there.
What about you, Brian?
Put some goddamn pants on, Brooks, when you're outside my window.
Brian, he thinks this is the end of Sleepaway Camp. Anyway, Brian, what do you think about the music in this film?
Oh yeah, y'all nailed it, man. That it's easily one of my favorite parts of the movie, and it just I may start watching horror movies if I'm watching them by myself on headphones.
Yeah,
like it definitely added to a lot of that, because like you can't miss that death rattle no matter how how faded off or you could hear just everything. It was so cool.
Prior to this, Brian only watched horror films without sound.
He's like Brooks outside, with Iron Eagle.
Outside in a crowded city center, just so I make sure I could grab somebody. I don't know. I mean, like I said, y'all nailed it. And I did go look it up on YouTube and found that playlist, and I have listened to it a couple times because I watched it earlier last week. And so I've been definitely digging that one. So, and you're right. I mean, it definitely helped with a lot of those scenes. The sustained creepy factor for the whole hour and a half is hard to pull off. And you know, so but it all worked out.
All right, Brooks, what about yourself?
I really like the soundtrack. One thing that like really struck me about it is like it blends in very well, but it also stands out at the same time. Like as I was watching the movie, I actually like found myself listening to the soundtrack, you know, and actually like wow, this is a really good soundtrack. Like it has I don't know, it's like it doesn't like jump out at you, but you know it is like I felt it, I guess you could say. So yeah, pretty good, I'd say.
All right. Speaking of feeling you and feeling pretty good about it, Fable, what do you think about the music in this film?
Yeah, I really can't add much to it. It's fantastic. It does its job when it needs to do its job. I agree with Jelani. It got really powerful at the end with Azumi when she saw her friends and that whole bit when the father saw his daughter in the future and vice versa. All of that music was really good at that point. But particularly the sound design on top of the music, I think is excellent. Because like you said, all the little beeps from the set, what do you call it? The damn answering machine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
we haven't had
it's been
those in a
so long
while.
since we've all had answering machines.
Yeah.
Okay.
No done.
But yeah, little sound effects from that, the pitter patter of his feet all around, the death metal, I mean, that sound is just like I said.
Fable, you just scared the
primordial.
shit out of Jelani, by the way,
Yeah.
by doing that.
I hate that noise.
Something
He's not
about
gonna be able
Just
to
send
sleep
him
tonight.
voice messages in the middle of the night, bro.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, everything. So yeah, the sound is excellent. Top notch.
Fuck yeah. Well put. What about you, Holshoe? What do you think about the music and or sound design?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it works well with the film, and I really enjoyed it when I watched the film. Although, since then, I've listened to a lot of who I think's the master of horror film music. I've listened to a lot of John Carpenter stuff since then. So it doesn't make that film bad. I just
Well,
don't
hold
see
on a
myself
second though,
revisiting.
John, because one thing that would not make JU-ON good is bum 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 bum. I don't think a John Carpenter score would work for this film, bro.
I don't think it would.
Yeah, I agree.
But
with
no,
Yeah.
I agree with that. But I've been listening to a lot of his stuff outside of that film, and I was like, oh man, I really like his music. As far as like horror music goes, I find myself listening to his stuff outside of movies and not other musicians that do horror. Does that make any sense? Like I'm not buying.
Nothing would have been better
Yeah.
than when like they show that like gnarly VHS footage of the murder at the beginning, and then it goes it does the Escape from New York fucking theme all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So, but it works well for the film, and it's quiet when it's supposed to be quiet. Jelani's right; it hits you when it's supposed to give you that shock factor. It works well with the film. I wouldn't change anything about the soundtrack. I think it works exceptionally well. And notice I didn't think there's any license. Like there's nobody in that town listens to any music. There's no like license, and no one's ever listened to the radio or driving their car and you hear music. Like
It's just a random J-pop song in the movie.
yeah, but that being quiet, when people are investigating or doing their thing, kind of works to the, what I'm saying, adds to the whole dispense. And let's go back to this isn't soundtrack related, but I like how the movie goes right into the movie. You know what I'm saying? She goes and Rika goes and visits to see that lady, and we go right into the horror. There's a lot of films, unfortunately, like, oh, this movie's 2 hours, and the first hour is just like people move into a fucking house. I'm like, oh God, somebody murder somebody.
They hear a noise in the middle of the night.
Yeah,
This
and they
gets right into it.
investigate. So I do like the fact that it gets right into it. That's not related to the soundtrack, but I like the soundtrack. I think it works exceptionally well. I just don't think I'd go like buy the soundtrack if it was available. I wouldn't probably listen to it again. But it works exceptionally well for that film, and it helps. It just buttons it up. It's the icing on the Japanese cake,
Yeah. All
which
right.
is probably
I like
made
it.
of squid or something.
Well, I think I released the Argento cut with the Goblin soundtrack for this
Oh,
movie.
bro, that's
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right. We'll get to the Argento soundtrack next week. Anyway, right now, this movie is about ghosts, so it's got a lot of themes. Jelani, what's this movie speaking to you? What's it about?
Don't go in the fucking house. Don't do it. If anybody asks you, hey, let's go to this house where 22 billion murders happen. No, I'm good. Nah, bro. We're straight. And it's hatred and rage and fear. It's all in this black abyss. And it starts, I guess, with this guy who kills his family. And he has all of these feelings of anger and rage, and you don't know why. It's probably the primordial force that's in the house, or his mental illness, or a little bit of both, that started this reign of terror throughout all time, which culminates in this house that people keep fucking going to. Because if you notice at the end of the movie, when Rika wakes up and she's before that part, you see the streets of all these missing people, and the streets are empty. That means like whatever started it has spread, and it's
House wins and fatality to everybody.
Yep, absolutely took out like this area of people.
The
and
house wins, man. Don't you know?
Yeah, too many missing people, and nobody's looking. Nobody's looking for them, and it's scary. It's ominous. It's just one of those things. But yeah, my main message is don't go in that fucking house. There's just
don't
no
go
reason.
in that house.
No, let's go help that man. No, that motherfucker dead.
At least she had the idea that it was her job, unlike Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where they're just like, let's just go up in this house and try to find some gas.
Hey, there people. There's somebody in here, right? In Texas, and you didn't get shot. In Texas,
They got worse than shot, brother.
They got worse than shot. Yep.
Speaking of worse than shot, Brian, what do you think about the theme of the movie? What's it speaking to you?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, don't help people.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, is it worth it?
No, not at all.
No. I mean, it seems noble. No, but yeah, yeah. I had a hard time pulling a theme out. But listening to you guys talk about it better, I there's things I didn't pull from that first watch. But yeah, it's like because while I was watching it, I was trying to think about the theme, and I was like, I mean, if you find out your wife's cheating on you and the kid's not yours, leave. I mean, that's you can do that, like scot-free, right? I mean, it's like, oh, okay, I'm out.
And in Japan, you're just like no fault divorce, deuces.
Yeah, I mean, but I was just like, I was thinking, I mean, just all these innocent people died because of this guy's, maybe he was crazy, or maybe he was possessed by a spirit too, or something. I don't know. Maybe that was going on, but yeah, I don't know. So I was having trouble with that, but the more you guys are talking about like the time dilation and other stuff like that, I think that there's a lot I was not totally getting in there, but what I did pull from it though, I'm sorry.
It's a hard on the first watch. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it just the more I hear, the more I need to rewatch it. I mean, it's no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
That happens a lot with some of these things where, especially when it's out of order. Like I can usually track things pretty well, but like once you start doing that, I'm really more trying to follow the plot than I am the pulling more out of it. So
yeah.
It's like
but the thing is,
when I'm doing that, I know there's more there. But
you got to look at these movies like a Tom King comic book. You got to read it slowly, with intent. Apparently,
because you have to, because there's too many words.
Yeah. Well, that's what Chris from Lost in Comics tells me all the time.
I'm kidding.
So you got to watch the movie more slowly, Brian. So you got to watch it at half speed and really pay attention. Yeah. No, you got it there. The time dilation has a lot to do, I think, with the thing. Brooks, what you got for us, man? I think you're going to pump that up.
Well, I think this movie's like, and it's like a thing in a lot of ghost stories. Like, no matter where it's like the idea of like strong emotion.
I'd like 2 eggs over hard.
You start doing that to me now, man.
Look at Brian. Brian gets to see the other side of it.
That's what it feels like. Oh wow. It's a new perspective.
Fucking derailed my train of thought now. Backtrack. Figure out what I was fucking talking about.
Brooks, what were you saying?
Yeah, it's about like, this idea of like, powerful emotions and how they can like, this idea that they can linger, even after death. And like, how that like, it's like, even like the mundane things, like, jealousy is like a very common thing, everybody gets jealous at some point, but like, it's like an extreme, and taken in its extreme, jealousy can be like, scary, like this dude, his jealousy drives him to do this horrible thing. And then, even like the idea that even death isn't powerful enough to like, basically rid the world of this dude's like, like strong, powerful jealousy, and how it like consumes everything around it, like it's like a force that can't be avoided. And, that's a thing about ghosts is like, what can you fucking do about it? Unless you have like a proton pack, you're just kind of fucked,
That's the message. Everybody needs a proton pack.
Yeah.
Wear
Proton packs for everybody.
Or don't go into nobody's house or help anybody.
Nope. Sounds fair.
Now, well put, Brooks. Well put. Like you recovered after the overhard bit, but no, you're 100% right. It's about the resonating effect of the initial act of violence, right? Not even the act, but the feeling and motive behind it, right? And that it never goes away.
Almost as if there's some sort of grudge.
Almost as if.
Wear the grudge like a crown of negativity.
What about you, Fable? What's this movie speaking to you?
Yeah, what Brooks said.
I catch Brooks' thing. I saw the egg thing and completely.
I was Brian a little bit. I don't think there's too much of a theme to pull out of here, because of the random people that die, and these ghosts really have no rules. They don't stick to the house. I mean, they go to the hospital. They go to this lady's house and stalk her there. Yeah, they kill her coworker for some reason, some unknown reason. He's like tucked under a table or something like that. So
in the house, they gonna get you.
Yeah, it's just like
security guard.
Yeah, it's almost like I could maybe even knock this movie for it, because there's just no winning, right? So we're just witnessing these people get terrorized because there's no rule set. We don't even know these ghosts' whole motive. Yeah, like, you know what I mean? But
that's it.
Sure, if you wanna pull the resonance of an emotion, a strong emotion, and how it could spread and kill this whole town, I'm with that. That's what this movie's about.
Well, let me tell you something, Fable. I will pull from that, because the thing is this. It's like the first Wolfman film, right? Through no fault of your own. That's the point of a curse sometimes. So sometimes in these movies, people can be cursed through no fault of their own. It shows you the power of our individual actions and how they go beyond you, your family, and even your own town. And I'm kind of jumping onto what I was going to say here, but like, to me, the idea of this film ultimately is that these acts, these negative emotions, we can call them negative, but really, like, honestly, we got to get beyond looking at things in a negative and positive light, the yin and the yang, like it's all the same, right? But those kind of actions, it's not even about the emotions, it's about the actions associated with those emotions. They go through. How many kids, through no fault of their own, were raised to be a certain way? How many people, through no fault of their own, are in situations where they're never able to survive? They can't get through it. That's kind of the point. I get what you're saying. There's no point. There's no theme for the characters, but the theme for the movie is that, right? To me,
when you guys talk about it, I can totally see everything you guys are saying. So I'm going to agree with it, because it does seem that way, but it just seems like an incomplete thought. Sort of like this is the third movie in the trilogy, right? Like, yeah, there may be more there, and there's some cultural stuff here that can go over our heads too. You know what I mean? The whole shrine thing that you talked about earlier, how it showed their faces in there. I'm pretty sure there's something way more there than even I'm getting. You know, I'm getting the gist of it. Like, oh, that's scary. Their faces are in there, but maybe it means even more in Japanese culture. Showing that, you know,
there's a part like the part with the teddy bear charm, where like one of the girls like loses her this charm or whatever when she was fleeing from the house, and all of a sudden just appears back in her hand. I was like, is there more to that than I didn't know what exactly they were trying to say there.
I said we find that bear charm and we send it to Jelaine.
No, hell no.
Johnny wakes up and he's just got this little teddy bear charm in his head.
I'm waking
I
up.
hope you can go to sleep with this tonight.
You got me.
That's better than the shaving cream trick, man. That's awesome. What about you, Holshu? What's this movie speaking to you?
Due diligence. If you're gonna move into a house, just make sure there's no like it's not haunted.
Yeah, don't put your aging mother in a haunted house.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna move in this house. How many murders? Okay, you know, one murder maybe, but like 40 murders, maybe we keep shopping.
Here's something. Okay, the second chapter, right, with the couple and their mother, right?
Yes.
How far in the past do you think that is compared to chapter?
I don't know. It might be the second. It might be after the initial murder. We don't know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't
is
seem
great.
like it's that far
But it's
along
not
because
too much.
we get the phone call from what's her name?
Right.
Sumi or whatever, right? We get the phone call in there. That old woman has black hair in chapter 2 and white hair in chapter 1.
Mhm.
That's like showing you
But
how
she's freaked
intense
out.
this shit is, right? Like how fucking
Yeah.
spooky it is. And the other thing, this movie doesn't over explain itself. Oh, this is Ghost Vision, apparently.
Yeah.
But like if this was an American movie, and I don't remember if they did this in the American
I don't
remake,
think
but
they did.
if Michael Bay or Mike Flanagan or David Gordon fucking Green did this movie, there'd be 20 minutes of people being like, in our community, we've learned that we put our hands over our heads, we can look at the ghosts and the spectral visions. So let's appreciate how subtle this movie is in its structure and narrative as well as its themes. But just to kind of come back to what I was saying, like to me, it is about the curse of the generation before. And what does a curse mean? A curse doesn't always come across people based on that person's own doing. It's like in The Wolfman, through no fault of your own. Lon Chaney Jr. didn't do anything wrong. Larry Talbot didn't do anything wrong in The Wolfman. He was just trying to like hit on some woman. Yeah, she may have been engaged. Who
Even a
gives
man
a
of pure
shit?
heart.
It's 1941, man. We're having fun, man. Who gives a shit? The thing is this. Sometimes shit just happens. Cancer. Is cancer a curse? No, it's not a fucking curse, but it's something that happens to you regardless of your decisions sometimes,
Bela.
right? We can all try to do the right things, eat the right things, live the right way. Doesn't mean that we're going to avoid any types of catastrophe. And the problem is, when we as humans are approached with catastrophe, sometimes we internalize it so much and we have to feel like there's a reason for it. That, in fact, makes a curse, right? An angry mother makes an angry child. An angry father makes an angry child. A sad, broke father or mother makes a sad, broke, and sad. You know, you get what I'm saying? It's like the power of our emotions and the effect that they have. It's a ripple effect. It continues on into the future. It continues on into the past in a way. This energy will just like spread, right? And so much to the fact that sometimes the ghost that is haunting us and cursing us is ourselves, right? Because we can't get rid of the trap that we've fallen into sometimes through no fault of our own. So I guess the ultimate meaning of this movie is shit fucking happens, bro. And it sucks sometimes. So maybe we should help each other a little bit more. Maybe we should have that cabin in the woods. Maybe we should have that cabin in the woods. Everybody get together, sing Kumbaya, David Gordon Green, and we turn the spirit into a frog and we allow it to live or some shit like that, right? No, I think that this is a very deep thought about, Brian, you were there. Dan Waters said the most profound thing about ghost stories. Ghosts always represent trauma.
Mhm.
And this ghost was born out of trauma. And that trauma affected people that had nothing to do with that family. And that's a true fucking statement. How many people you know whose lives are affected by something that happened trauma related that wasn't even connected to them, right? Trauma's the curse. Dan Waters said it. I'm going to agree with it. This movie's about trauma and its perpetual reflections across all of space and time. And honestly, we all have so much trauma in this world. No fucking wonder we are where we are. Maybe we all need to look inside and meditate and think about it. And maybe you'll all just try to be a better person. And I'm not saying go into a stranger's house. Never do that. But help somebody. But don't go in their house, goddammit. All right. So anyway.
Okay, fine. I'll help people.
I will help people. Just don't go in their house,
You
man.
convince me.
Yeah. Even if they invite you, just don't do it, man.
No,
Yeah.
thank you.
Nah, don't
Yeah, I'll
do
help
it.
you
All
out
right.
here. Why don't you come out here?
All right. It's time to rate this film. Out of 5 possible you digs, you out there in the chat, I'm really excited to hear what you have to say. Out of 5 you digs, what do you give JU-ON the Grudge? Jelani, kick us off.
Well, I mean, it still freaks me out. Like, I can't believe after the third time I was still having trouble, like, dealing with how creepy this movie is. So I'll give it a 5. This is I was gonna give it a 4 because the thing exists, but yeah, I'll give it a good decent 5. This is a crazy movie. The music is fantastic. The cast is pretty decent. The special effects are awesome. Even they're so practically done. That's the best part for me as well. It's just it's done. The horror is done such a way where it's just for the effects, especially crawling down those stairwell with plastic bag wrapped around you, covered in blood, is like the thing that haunts me to this day. It is an absolutely stellar film. If you haven't watched it, I suggest you watch this and JU-ON too. I'll watch. I think I want to watch the other 2 now. I figure out the other 2 so I can watch.
Another
watch all
4,
this.
man.
Yeah, I gotta watch
dude.
The Curse too. Yeah, I gotta go back and watch The Curse. But I mean, if I've seen The Grudge, I don't probably need to see The Curse. I don't know.
I mean, why not?
Yeah,
Just
let's
do it all. Just do it all.
But it seems like these are just fantastic films already, and The Grudge is trash. So yeah, I give this 5. This is a decent 5.
All right, a perfect score from Jelani. What about you, Brian?
Yeah, I'll go with 4.5 on this. I wouldn't. I don't know. It like a 5. Like to me is like I want to immediately rewatch it, kind of thing. Like I'm trying to think of when I might want to do that. So there's nothing I could really nitpick at it. And I do want to watch it again. You know. But yeah, it was very did everything it was trying to. Yeah, it is scary. That's for sure. And it definitely did work on me, like I said. So, yeah, because like I said, I did hype myself up a little too much. So, but yeah, no, it was a fantastic movie. So I don't know, 4.5.
Second time Brian watches this movie, he's gonna be fucking terrified. Y'all just wait and see. He's gonna be like awake in the middle of the night for some reason at like 3:30 a.m. watching this movie.
He's gonna put newspapers all over his windows.
Yeah.
He's gonna wake
call
up with a
Jelani
fucking
at 2
teddy
o'clock
bear
in the
his-
morning because I know he's up.
Oh no, silent mode.
It's like, hey, can you talk me through this?
Yeah, we're in airplane mode post midnight, man. Come on, bro. We're
Mhm.
professionals. All right, a 4.5 from Brian. What about you, Brooks? What do you give it?
I give this one a 5. Like I really like. I mean, as far as horror movies, this is probably about as good as it gets. Like I really would like to see it. I feel like I could get more out of it. Like the more I watch it, because there are certain aspects of it I feel like I kind of missed. But it's great. It's got a great atmosphere. It's got a great soundtrack. Like I just couldn't find any real fault with it.
Hell yeah. All right, what about you, Fable? Man, a lot of high bars raised right here. You're muted, bro. You're doing the mic.
You're doing the mic.
Oh, my bad. If I had any knock on this movie, I don't know. Its knocks are also its merits too in a lot of ways because, the passage of time in this movie, it does throw you off. I know it threw me off. I had to rewatch it again to be like, wait a minute, what just happened? I didn't connect that older Azumi was the kid from one scene to the next because those followed each other. So it didn't hit me right away that was her. And then I kind of pieced it together, whatever. So that would be a ding. But at the same time, I kind of wanted to watch it again to figure it out too. So that's a plus, right? Now I'm going back to rewatch. It's interesting to me enough for me to do that. So I don't know. It's in that place. And another thing that, again, would be a knock, but also a merit is like, it doesn't have any heroes. It doesn't have any wins. It's a dire. It's just about these people going through crap, and that's it. And that's the movie. And I like heroes, and I like to at least have a final girl, if you will, or a final person, if you will, even if they are tortured at the end. One. Yeah. And
the curse is the hero.
This doesn't do it, but at the same time, props for not doing it. I'm still interested, right? Yeah. So but at the end of the day, this is an innovative film that inspired a generation of film, right? Like, this was a game changer, in my opinion. Japanese horror, J-horror, this put it on the map. Like, stuff like this, Ringu, all that stuff. It's
credited as the second wave, right? Because it says, like, Ringu and all the, it was like, they said that, like, there was this wave of Japanese horror in the 90s, and it kind of ended with Ringu, because then everybody copied Ringu. And it wasn't until JU-ON that something different happened.
Right, exactly. So, like, you got to give it its historic significance. So, I was going to say 4.5, just like Brian, but you know how we do on Horrorfest, baby. 5 days.
Nice. You understand the Horrorfest protocols are in effect. That means we can all give it an extra 0.5 and not feel any guilt or remorse or grudge about it. What about you? Hammer Time Holeshoe, out of 5 you digs, what do you give? We got perfect scores all the way around except for fucking Brian.
I probably 4.0 because, like
you
Fable
son
said,
of a bitch.
I didn't feel there was an ending. There wasn't a final girl. You don't really see what happens. I mean, we know what happens, but at the same time,
we do have a final girl, dude. She's got long fucking hair. She's like this.
I wanted resolution. I wanted some satisfaction, and I came away like, okay, I get that it circles back around, but it doesn't leave me satisfied. So I was kind of pissy. You know what? I'll bump it up to 4.5 because Rika's so cute.
Wow.
All right. A 4. I'll allow that. You can bump it up to a 4.5 with Horrorfest protocols in effect. I'm going to give this a 5 you digs.
Nice.
It's a perfect fucking score for me because I love this film so much. It had been like 15 years since I watched this last. I got this box set last year and I had to dive into at least the first one, and I'm ready for more, dude, because I love this movie. I think it's about the perpetual cycle of depression, of trauma, of all the fucking guilt and shame and remorse that we fill up ourselves with, right? And we got to break that cycle. And sometimes, guess what? We're never going to break the cycle. We're all going to die. We're all going to be alone at some point. We're all going to feel a loss of love. All relationships will break apart. Everything that's good will go away. That's the nature of life. How are we going to deal with that? Do we deal with it through trauma and remorse and a grudge and a curse? Or do we try to break that cycle?
Or do we just break the cycle? Eat cookies and watch horror films?
Exactly. Just eat cookies, watch horror films, and turn your demons into little frog people and celebrate, right? That's the Cabin in the Woods reference again for everybody. All right, so a 5 from me and everybody else on the panel, except for Brian and John, who gave it a 4.5. So that is a PCP average of a 4.69, dudes.
I knew you.
All right.
Legitimately close to that.
Yeah, exactly. Horrorfest is great this year, y'all.
Oh,
you know, all across all 3 channels, we've had banger lineups, and it's not even fucking over yet. We still got plenty of time to come. So thus concludes our review of JU-ON, but Horrorfest does not end. Thursday, over at Blood Splatter Chatter, check out me and Verno talking about Exorcist, the Believer. I feel like we're one of the only 5 people on the internet who like this film in some form or fashion. So we'll be talking about Exorcist, the Believer there. Check out Dylan's horror show on Saturday night for Night of the Demons. Love this film. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, 4.69 you digs for me. I will not be there, but I am going to try to plan to just pop on my phone for like 5 minutes while we're at Scarefest, getting drunk with David Arquette and Richard Dreyfuss. What do you think about that, John?
I think that sounds great. I can't guarantee we won't be on there in the nude.
Yes, exactly, exactly. But next week, y'all, I feel like the entirety of this channel's existence has led up to next week. It's all been building up to this. Next week here on PCP Movie Night for our penultimate episode. Actually, it's not our penultimate episode because we still have 2 more after that. Anyway, next week here on PCP Movie Night, Dawn of the Dead, the Argento cut.
The Argento cut.
That's right. You
The
gotta watch
pretentious one.
you gotta watch the European Argento cut with the Goblin soundtrack. That's what we're talking about next week. So to recap, Horrorfest, it's been the best yet, but it's not over. Thursday, check out me and Verno over at Blood Splatter Chatter. We're talking about Exorcist, The Believer. Check us out on Saturday night at Dylan's Horror Show for Night of the Demons, Linnea Quigley Gold. Do you guys got sour balls? Well, no wonder you never get any blowjobs. And then next week, Dawn of the Dead, the Argento cut, the infamous Argento cut of Dawn of the Dead. Super excited. Jelani, you got to give me a minute to download this real quick.
Was that a European release then?
It is the European cut.
Was it called Royale with Cheese of the Dead over there?
Royale with Cheese of the Dead. Sounds about right.
It was called Zombie, actually.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's why the
Zombie
movie.
exists.
That's why the movie by Lucio Fulci here is called Zombie, but over there it's called Zombie 2. So
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, exactly. And they're on fucking roller skates and they're goddamn
Zombies have to stay in their community center.
It's so fucking weird. All right, Jelani, thank you for being here. Any final thoughts? What you got coming up?
Man, I love this movie. So I'm so glad we got a chance to talk about it again. It's just one of those films that you need to check out and skip The Grudge. Of course, Brooks and I do this thing called Go Figure Reviews. We did our biggest review yet. This is the biggest, is Galactus.
Wow.
He's missing a fin. I gotta talk to Manny about that. But this video is like an hour, almost an hour long. Pretty much of us like gushing over this figure. It is absolutely fantastic. It has its moments though. It's got some faults, but it's worth every penny. It's a little, no, it's not. It's very expensive.
I think it's overpriced.
It's very overpriced. It needs a voice box. There are a lot of things wrong with it. There are a lot
Spoiler alerts. How much is that damn thing?
Oh, it's I got it for. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
I'll tell
Originally, it was a HasLab crowdfunded thing that cost
$400. Originally, it was $400.
It's more now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's gone up.
Like secondary market. I didn't buy it when the Kickstarter happened. Or the Pulse crowd.
I'm on the Kickstarter for the Brooks action figure. I hope that goes through.
Yeah, it should be awesome.
It better.
But we also did a house tour with our friend Steven. He has a lot of X-Men stuff. So check that video out. We're growing slowly but surely. So yeah, check us out. We got stuff going on. We're gonna have the part 2 of Steven's house tour very soon as well. So
all right, Brian, thank you so much for being here. Final thoughts.
Yeah, glad to be here, and yeah, I love being introduced to these movies. I was into horror in high school and everything, and I've watched some and everything like that. But y'all have definitely helped me out finding some of the good stuff. I mean, just as a example, I finally saw The Thing last month.
I saw Robbie's thing once at a hotel.
Okay, yeah.
I was there.
With the John Carpenter soundtrack, or
Of course.
Yeah, playing in the phone. You're like, hold on, let me play.
It's like a Hallmark card, bro. Like when it pops out, dude, it just like starts fucking playing.
Yeah, but yeah, I think I guess coming up, looking forward to the monthly review, which I guess will be next week.
Yeah,
and also on that day, it's not really a show related thing, but Pluto drops on Netflix, which is my second favorite manga after Akira. It's Naoki Urasawa retelling an Astro Boy story. And it's the complete thing. Like it's one season, everything. It's I've been this has been in development for years. So they finally announced the date like 3 months ago, and I went ahead and put in a leave slip for work, and I'm going to be out that day. But I'll be excited to talk comics after that. So
you'll take off works for a new anime, but not for like. Okay, never mind. We won't get into it right now. Brooks, thank you for being here. Final thoughts.
Yeah. Just
Now I'd like 2 eggs over hard.
And that was the meaning of life.
Damn it.
See, that's how you do it, Brian. Fable, thank you for being here.
Like, don't hold a grudge. That being said, I'm going to paint myself white after this and stand outside John's window all night.
yes,
So let's go to Delaney's. I'll paint
You should
myself
be
up
in
too.
front of Delaney's window is what you need to be.
I will shoot you all.
Okay.
Alabama man.
Fable's going to be coming down to Alabama, actually. We're going to all paint ourselves white and just hang out in front of Delaney's.
Everybody will just
And
be
Castle
shocked.
Doctrine.
I don't know what's happening to you, but it ain't gonna be pretty.
Fable, thank you for being here. Final thoughts. I know you had a great show yesterday, brother.
Thank you.
Or 2
man,
days ago.
yeah.
Yeah, congratulations on your show, by the way. Awesome
Thank
show.
you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
dude.
Yeah, we're getting some good numbers, man. I'm
Super
really
impressed.
shocked at it, really, honestly.
Mhm.
But that's awesome. But yeah, I'm so happy. Finally, we're moving to Japan with some of these movies. You know, I love Italy. I love it. It's a nice country. It's great movies come out of there. But I'm glad we going far east to Japan and seeing some of this stuff because it's really good stuff. And I hope we review more of this stuff. I mean, Brooks gave it a 5. I mean, we can't ask for more than that. You know what I mean? But yeah, check out more J Horror. Check us out on Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna have Bronze Age Nerd this weekend with us, talking, I guess, New York Comic Con stuff and anything else that happens this week. So yeah, check us out. Thanks a lot, man.
Hell yeah. Everybody go sub up right now to One Collection Down. Can somebody please throw a link in the chat? And while you do that, Hammer Time Whole Shoe, thank you so much, man. I'm so pumped for Scarefest this week,
It's
brother.
gonna be awesome, man. I agree with Fable. There's a lot of great Japanese films, a lot of great shows. Besides anime, there's some great live action stuff. Don't sleep on Japan. Japan's got some great shit. Great music. Robbie and I saw Scandal last year. They came to Atlanta. There's so much great shit coming out of Japan. So check out Japan. Don't sleep on Japan. Also, do not sleep on Go Figure reviews because they're fucking awesome. I've been watching more. I don't even collect figures. I find myself I watched the whole Batwing thing.
Really?
The new one, the Keaton one, and
Yeah.
I don't collect figures. I'm not against figures. I have some Japanese stuff back there, but I don't do a lot. But I'm tempted to pick up like the Keaton stuff. I do watch them, and your videos have improved in quality, and you guys are generally excited about toys, and it makes me happy for you guys. So guys, go check them out.
Yeah, don't sleep on Japanese films, especially J Horror. Do not sleep on Go Figure reviews, and do not sleep on the idea of painting yourself white and standing outside.
It's
Right?
fun.
Like,
It's just
Yeah.
good, clean fun.
it's just
but do
good,
it when
clean
he's
fun.
sleeping. That's the key.
Don't fuck with
Especially
me
when
while
And
you
you
then
do
do
the
it.
death
scratch
row.
on the window.
Never fuck
Hell
with
yeah.
me while asleep.
Join me Thursday on Blood Splatter Chatter as we talk about the new Exorcist film, Believer. Check out Dylan's horror show on Saturday for Night of the Demons. And next week, Dawn of the Dead, the Argento cut. And for my my final thoughts, all I got to say is,
Whoa!
wow!